This episode of Grilled by the Staff Canteen is sponsored by Westlands, the premier specialist British grower of microleaf, growing cresses, edible flowers, inspired leaves, sea herbs and specialty tomatoes. Visit www.westlandsuk.co.uk to find out more. Thanks for downloading Grilled by the Staff Canteen. I'm Cara, editor of the Staff Canteen, and in this episode I spoke to Great British Menu finalist Kerth Gumbs. Kerth is the head chef of Shaun Rankins Ormer restaurant in Mayfair. He has previously worked for Tom Aikens, Joël Robuchon and Jason Atherton. I spoke to Kerth about the tough situation the hospitality industry is facing due to coronavirus and how important the experience of each kitchen he has worked in has been for him. He also spoke to me about why he loved being on Great British Menu and would love to come back as a judge, and how he likes to use social media as a positive influence, and how he is ready to let the world know who Kerth Gumbs is. Okay, so let's talk about the current situation first. I know everyone is probably sick of the word coronavirus. I know I am. So, but since kind of the announcement from the government telling people not to go to restaurants and bars, what's life been like for you and your team at Ormer?
I think, overall it's been a big challenge. It's a challenge that none of us could have really expected. And the restaurant industry has been hit hard, but at the same time, we're all in the same boat.
How do you stay positive?
I think, for myself and what I try to do with the team, we stay in touch regularly through WhatsApp chats. We try to update as much as possible. And with the given information that's getting from the government, I think for me personally, being away from the restaurant and a bit more home time with the family, because I get a chance to wake up to the mornings with my eldest son, and I'm at home at the evening with my youngest daughter before she goes to bed. So it's kind of a positive for me in that sense of pulling back together some time that I never used to get to do all these things, in terms of the early mornings with the kids, or early evenings with the kids. So for me, I stay positive on that sense, knowing that it is a time where I can actually, really just digest and give back some quality family time. And when it comes to do with the team, we're always bouncing off of each other. I'm quite a busy thinker when it comes to, planning ideas for new menus, compiling flavor combinations and so forth. So I'm always touching base with my sous chefs and my CDPs, and that's kind of like picking their brains as well, trying to utilize this time and saying what do you think about this, in terms of if we are going to get back in the kitchen in about 2 or 3 months' time, not showing what season that's going to be, what produce is going to be coming in, what are you thinking the new trend going to be, and so forth. So I try to keep myself, busy in terms of respecting, the little comforts that we have in doing now, which is time on our hands to think more and to spend it wisely in quality time with family, especially as being with chefs. How chefs can work mad hours, and it's no secret. So yeah.
No, definitely not. So how did it feel when you obviously realised that you had to close the restaurant? What was that like, thinking back now? It's quite a frightening prospect, really.
Yeah, I think it was. We could have kind of maybe felt that it was coming, but you're always gonna stand in that gray area of not showing, well, is it really going to hit us? But then when you start to see all the big names around you starting to crumble, and our general manager, he was quite proactive on it. He was trying to grab and call HOD meetings so we can all brainstorm to say if it's going to happen, what we can possibly do, how can we try to help our staff or protect them and keep them involved in the business as long as we can. So he was very forward moving in that front. And then the day came, and it was bummers. Okay, we're going to be closing, and then we were supposed to close on the Saturday, and then that got moved up to the Thursday night or something like that. So things just keep happening as a strong effect of domino, just keep falling down, and we keep adjusting. And we thought we could have held up a long more, but like I said, it's I think at the end of the day, we had a bit of resolution of understanding that it wasn't just us, it was the Dorchesters, the Savoy Grills, the next door restaurant, the Hyde, the Joël Robuchons, we were amongst some great restaurants. So, if it was happening to them, I think, we would have been a bit naive to think it wouldn't happen to us. So in terms of having all those little HOD meetings and trying to as well keep the staff kind of brief that what's happening in the news. So we had to take it on the chin, and it was bummers for all around for everyone.
Yeah, no, definitely. And are you able to keep all your staff over the next few months? Is that something that you're able to do?
Yeah, well, more or less now, since the government announced about the furlough scheme.
Yeah.
We have kept most of our staff under attention through this scheme, and yeah, like I said, our GM was always trying to see what best he can do to support us, where rather than make people redundant and then not being able to open back up at the same positions, etc. We were always had it of in our mindset of that we would like to continue to do what we're doing, open the restaurant again, and there's a lot of things that we haven't accomplished yet, and we had strong goals to look forward to. So yeah.
With that in mind, obviously having things that you once we're back and you can open and those goals, what are your thoughts on the future of hospitality as a whole after this? Because obviously it's for some people it will have a devastating impact, and there will be an impact that everyone will feel. But in terms of positive and negative, what do you think this has done for the hospitality industry?
Well, I think through what's been happening with the hospitality, it has been a total shock to all our waves in terms of the routines that people normally do and things that we take for granted. And I think though that these little things that we did take for granted and being able to go out and socialize and eat out, etc., I do think they're going to come back hopefully stronger than ever, because it's going to be one of the little things that's going to be missed. And hopefully we should, with all the new incentives and hospitality, taking actions and being supportive in that way, hopefully the people will be right back out ready to dine. I do expect that they're probably going to be looking more for some appreciated deals and offers and so forth, and hopefully they as well will be taking it out and coming back to just jump in and right where they started again, where we left off. Yeah, it's a very kind of like difficult question to answer in terms of what everyone will think about in the future. It's something that I think people are missing it, whether it's from a fine dining aspect, from being able to spend that special night or evening, or just going to your favorite neighborhood restaurant. I think it's something that people are missed being able to do, because it's things that you just saying they took it for granted. So as long as it is a high value for everyone's mindset, hopefully we could be able to come back stronger than ever, because we all need to do it. As humans, we try to evolve around everything that is thrown at us. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to do it, and the people will flush back into their local restaurants, their bucket list restaurants, and just doing the things that it was always doing before.
Yeah, hopefully.
But with more respect, hopefully.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're only, a couple of weeks in, and I'm already very bored, so I can't wait to be able to go out and eat again. So that will be amazing. So tell us a bit about you, Kerth, people who might not know anything about your kind of career and your kind of journeys, your current role at Ormer. So when did you first start cooking, and what kind of got you hooked on the industry?
Well, for me, it's a funny story. I always say it all the time, because it's like when I was around 16 years old or in high school, you always have a choice to choose between 3 compulsory subjects when you reach 4th grade, and that was auto mechanics, woodwork, or food nutrition. Auto mechanics and woodworks were dominated by boys, overcrowded by boys, banging, welding, just sawing away at things, and that didn't really appeal to me, and to be frank, I didn't particularly like getting dirty either. So when I walked over to the food nutrition classes, it was great. I thought that it was 16 girls, 3 boys, and I was like, well, wait a minute, at least I'll be able to get to eat what I create going to school. And coming from the Caribbean, I had a little bit of a tough upbringing, and when you're never always sure what your next meal is going to be and what you're going to eat, I'm like, well, if I'm going to be doing this in school, I'm going to be getting a win-win situation here. So I end up just joining into the food nutrition class. And, soon after that, the teachers was pairing the girls against the boys. And then, we had a lot of good support in terms of acknowledging that we were actually doing good and excelling with it. And my mom was also a chef, so when I grew up around her cooking, so this all resonated well with me. I used to always love to see the faces, of happiness and songs of appreciation that she got from whoever she cooked for, So, once having seen the food being served here in London, when I did decide to move over here because of a track and field scholarship that had fell through, the food that I saw was, it blew my mind, and I was like, well, if I apply myself and really learn as much as I can do, then one day I'll be able to have this craft, and two, be receiving songs of appreciation from guests, the same that I've witnessed that my mom was getting when I was growing up. So it was, that's how I kind of really got hooked into it. I was popular for maybe 3 things growing up. I loved track and field. Like I said, I had a scholarship for track and field. I loved dancing and so forth. And then now it was cooking. So it kind of all just, gel together.
Yeah. And so how did you, I'm sure it's we can condense it, you don't have to tell us all the details, but how did you end up at Ormer? So where did you first start working in London, and then how did you kind of progress to your head chef position now?
Yeah, I think after returning from Singapore for Jason Atherton for about 3 years over there, when I came back, I had one main job in kind of like what you call it, like a private members club, the arts club, and I stayed there. Just coming back from Singapore, I just had newborn twins, etc., and I stayed there for about 2.5 years, and after that I was yearning to get back onto the fine dining restaurants, the fine dining scene, which is the type of restaurants that I've always trained in. And it was particularly a good time when I saw that Shaun, a friend of mine who I've worked with before, chef, he was advertising and saying that they're going to be opening up this restaurant, which is just around the corner. It was also in Mayfair, and having seen that, I've always been as well around Mayfair, living in around the area. I knew it quite well, and I went in through my friend that introduced me, did my interviews, 4 or 5 different interviews, a couple of different cook-offs, and then he said, like, he liked this, he progressed. Then I moved to Jersey for about three months to be able to be incorporated into the Ormer that was over there at that time. And finally, that was like the last test. And then I got the job. And then it was back over on mainland in London and waiting to do the opening and soft opening, doing all menu trials and dish stations, etc.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up getting the role.
And so, what's Shaun Rankin like to work with, and how much input does he have on the menu and the day-to-day running of the restaurant? Because obviously, it's not his only project, so he divides his time, doesn't he? So,
well, I think you said it exactly as it is. Shaun has been focusing on his other project, so I really don't see him like that. All the menus and dish creations are done by me. There probably is 2 existing dishes that Shaun would have had that was kind of signatures before we had closed the restaurant that was around the menu. But on a day-to-day basis, all the hiring, all the training, to do with all the restaurant is done by myself. In terms of the whole operation, it's between the restaurant manager, which is Anishka, and myself, with both our teams supporting us, being able to do the day-to-day running of the restaurant. If there's any major ideas or anything that would like to be looked at or incorporated, then the general manager Henrik will then have a meeting with me and Aga and Nishka, and we will take it from there and see how we can do our best.
Yeah, and so is the style of cooking, is that your style, or do you think you're yet to kind of find your style completely? Because obviously working under big names it's not always something that you can completely do.
No, I think it is my style. Which, you know, sometimes it's hard to describe and explain, but once you've seen it, I mean, it's sort of being told by a lot of different, you know, colleagues and chefs and peers and everyone that comes in. No matter where I create a dish, whether it's a starter, main course, or dessert, you'll probably be able to see a trend and say, oh yeah, definitely that's Kerth dish, or Kerth did that. Or, you know, I think I have a particular type of style, and I don't know how to put it into words, but yeah, after working for, you know, so much critically acclaimed high restaurants, then, you know, with this amount of years experience, you do tend up with picking a bit from here, pick from there, and then eventually it becomes you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to approach. It's because of your creative process and how you approach the ingredients. It always end up, once I touch the plate, it always end up coming out with that type of way. I can't explain. So then it's like it's Kerth Gumbs all the way after.
Yeah. Okay. And having so now as a head chef, what have been the kind of the biggest challenges for you, and what have you learned, do you think, that maybe you didn't realise, because it changes very much, so doesn't it, on how much you have to look after your team and look after all of the, you know, ordering and making sure that the restaurant is running, or kitchen's running how you want it to. There's a lot more responsibility.
I'm very big on the inclusion and trying to take care of the team. I'm very big on development and training. I think, again, I take a lot of this, some of the negative experiences that I've encountered as going into the kitchen and, you know, waiting for the right opportunity to be able to be promoted or mounted or learn something. I try to keep the kitchen quite open to it. You know, for instance, like with dish creations and menu creations, I always create a dish and I call everyone up. It's always done on a minimum of 3 draft basis. But even if you're commie, if you're a pastry chef, if you're a sous chef, if you're a CDP, we all come to the past. We all see the dishes. We all taste it and try together. Not because I want you to have an opinion, but more or less I need you to be able to understand. One of the most difficult steps is sometimes taking that idea of a dish from your brain and onto the plate in the same fashion. And I think there's no better time to start learning when to do this and how you can do that. So I'm very big on trying to nurture and develop and inspire my chefs around. And probably that in itself is something that I, you know, thoroughly enjoy. It's probably one of the most difficult things at the same point in time. Because sometimes you do get let down, you do get disappointed, and not everyone grasps it until they actually leave. But I just knew that was something that I was missing in terms of when I was growing up, looking over people's shoulders, trying to get the next opportunity and learn as much as I can. I try to keep it as open as possible. And sometimes, who knows, you know, maybe the guys might give a suggestion, oh, chef, why don't you this and why don't you that? And if it makes sense, then yeah, it's all us. I try to help to bring the guys closer to being more appreciative of the dishes and the food that we're doing that's on the menu. And if they know, they probably give me an idea, or they help to do this, and they feel more part to it. So when those checks start to come through and the customer comes back and give the thanks and, you know, and gives a good reviews, equally so, they're all feeling more proud.
Yeah.
Taking more proud of what they're doing and what we are doing together, rather than it's just being me just soldiering on. Obviously, I have a lot of ideas and I try to give direction, but at the same point in time, I really, really try to encourage the guys to be inclusive, to come up and see the dishes when me recorrecting myself.
Yeah.
It might look good but don't taste good. It might taste good but don't look good. This just totally didn't work. That was a couple of degrees off. Or, you know, so many different things before we actually bring it to the 80%, 90% mark, and before it actually goes on the menu. So it's something I really, really I'm passionate about in terms of helping the guys to get closer.
And sticking with the menu, so you've been there 3 years, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So how has the menu, how have your dishes changed in those 3 years? Is it, if you take a look back, is it quite significant?
What would I say? The menu, I think we have changed. We have changed stuff in terms of if we've changed style. Well, I only ever know how to approach a dish in the way that I do. That's like my stencil. But we have taken, me myself, I've taken a lot of different feedback from different people, from the chefs, from people that we might have come in to eat. And having done that, we stripped certain things back, but we still kept the essence of what we wanted to do. So I think it was, trying to stay within the line of what we all think is great for fine dining, what we all think which is in the line of towards the Michelin star, because that's a big ambition of mine, something to, actually, secure one of them. But so, yeah, the things have changed, definitely. Have we refined? Definitely. Is there more things that we can do? Yeah, possibly, definitely. And that's why we're ongoing as a restaurant for 3 years open now. It's going to be 4 in this year, summer. But, I don't think there's ever a good time or a signal that you'll ever know when exactly you're doing everything correctly. I mean, as chefs, we're always trying to, innovate and, make things even more refined and accessible for the customer. If we have been doing things right, for some part of it, yes, because we have a lot of great reviews. We've had some amazing feedback, some accolades and acknowledgement. But like I said, I'm the type of person always like trying to see, to be as amongst the best with everyone else. So I continue to try to evolve and adapt. But that doesn't mean I'm like selling the essence of exactly who I am onto a plate.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously having a little look to see a bit about you before I give you a call. So you've worked in the kitchens for Tom Aikens, Aggie Sverrisson, Joël Robuchon. What were those experiences like? Do you have a favourite place that you can remember that you think, oh, that was a great kitchen environment to work in, and I've taken this from that experience?
Yeah, so I think up to this day, like I always said, like when I worked for Tom Aikens back at his flagship restaurant, it was a very intense kitchen, but I think I took away a lot from there. It was very, very militant and intense, but in terms of, my food style and approach to ingredients, I like to say that I've taken a lot of influence from Tom. When I did went to Joël Robuchon, it was the first opening in London. I stayed there after received 1 star, then the next year received 2 stars. And also there now, it was a complete opposite on a different end of the spectrum. I mean, they're very as well focused into the food and the ingredients, but they operate the kitchen a lot differently, and I had to then fit myself within that after just coming out of such an intense environment from Tom Aikens to then coming into a bit more of a relaxed environment with the French concept. But then equally so, we were all just focused on getting the best look at the produce and the ingredients and being more systematic. As for Aggie Severin, when I worked with him, I didn't even actually work there very long, which is, I think, every chef at some point in their life, in their career, they do have something that just really brings them down. And shortly after I started working for Aggie as well, he as well was in the kitchen. Joël Robuchon used to be in the kitchen every 2 to 3 months, and Tom Aikens were in the kitchen every morning at 7:30. He was in the kitchen. Yeah. Aggie Severin was in the kitchen for every lunch service. But like I said, it was unfortunate I didn't get to stay as long with Aggie because, I had that one moment that every chef had, and shortly after being in that kitchen, I kind of was going through a separation with my ex-wife, and then it was just all about concentration. I kind of just left the country, went to Singapore and worked for Jason Atherton, and tried to refresh and restart over there again.
Yeah.
Before we turned into London later on. Which
you obviously have done, so.
Yeah,
okay.
And these guys in the kitchen. Yeah, go ahead.
No, carry on.
No, I said, they all were in the kitchens, and like I said, especially, memorable so as Tom Aikens, I say to all my chefs and everyone is like, it is something that was very intensive. Working 1 year would have been like working 2.5, being in that kitchen, not just from the hours, the times. It was really mental. But like I said, he was on a mission and a path, and like now you can appreciate it. He has some great people that has come from his kitchen, not just locally but internationally, from the Tom Aikens kitchen in that era. So I thoroughly respect it, and I don't think that you can become the best that you can be without having a difficult story to tell sometimes. So that was one, but not one in a bad way for me. I highly respect him and the style of food that he does, and I can see some of the resemblance in myself. But I try to take away the positive things only.
Yeah. And how important is it to pick the right places to work then, Kerth? Because did you in your mind you knew you wanted to work for Tom Aikens and or Jason Atherton or any of them, or
I think one of my because when I first came, I didn't know about this type of food. I didn't know that it would have been on this level and that much of creativity and so beautiful and so intricate. So that was really blowing my mind. But I think one of my mentors, it was Julian O'Neill at that time. He was working for that same company, like Chris Corbin, Jeremy King. He was working for Heston Blumenthal on the airport and so forth. But he was a mentor of mine that he saw in me from a young age. My drive, the energy, and he recommended me that I had a look at Tom Aikens. And then when I went there, like I said, it was an amazing experience. One that when the alarm goes off in the morning at 6:15, I would look at an alarm and just juice my teeth and almost feel like you want to cry to get up to go in, but I stuck it out and I went and I did it, and so it's really good. I had that direction from Julian, and after when I left Tom Aikens, then obviously you're in that style of food. You hear other comments, and then it was okay, Joël Robuchon, and then you're more in the pattern, and from there, then you also start to hear more about food. I started to eat out more, so then it came naturally for me to see the next people that was making waves and turning heads, and then I just went out to follow them.
Yeah. So, advice for young chefs would make sure you have a good mentor then?
It is important, but it's not as easy to say have a good mentor, I think, because not every chef does it in the same manner.
Yeah. And
again, that's why it's something very important that I've done. It's all these things that was negatives, I try to turn them into positives with how I lead in my kitchen. For instance, one major thing that I always do, whether I'm at work or on holiday, it doesn't matter. Every Saturday night, I always make sure they have a meeting, and it's kind of like a kitchen AA meeting. We just all sit around the kitchen, and if you have a comment, you can say whatever. Oh, guys, it was only me putting away the vegetables this week. I really don't like if you take this without asking my peeler. Oh, guys, thank you so much. I wasn't feeling well this week, but you really give me a hand. Whatever it is, I always give them a chance to speak, because I think sometimes when you're working in this kitchen that's so intense and you're caught up of driving good food, you're losing sometimes mental health and tolerance. And I know that from my personal experience. I was like a madman sometimes. So it's good for them to be allowed to at least have a freedom of speech. So we do it all together, and when they do that, at least everyone gets to hear what the other one says. So not that it's going to solve any problem, not that it's just going to make it better with the snap of our fingers, but it gives us a bit more awareness, and most of all, it gives everyone consideration towards the next person. So next week, before that person does X, Y, and Z that can possibly, piss this person off, well, we will think 1 or 2 or 3 times to be a bit more considerate. And that's very important. So if you're going to have a good mentor, yes, that's something to have, but at the same point in time, you yourself got to be able to turn negatives into positives. Don't be afraid to look over shoulders to learn as much as you can. Don't wait for somebody to just say, oh, you free, come and learn how to do this or come and learn how to do that. No, you've been on your section for, however long, whether it's 6 months. Okay, you got that down pack. Crack on. Get some free time and go over and help someone else, because helping someone else is also helping yourself.
Yeah.
And then eventually, who knows, it will turn out.
Yeah. I mean, and talking to you, it's very clear that your team is very important for you, and working as a team. But just let's talk a little bit about Great British Menu, which obviously is just you and it's not your team. So why did you want to do Great British Menu? What made you think that was the next step for you?
From ever since I came in like 2004. I think Great British Menu started in 2006. And again, that was me just at, fresh comedy level and learning, the tricks of the trade in terms of the food and, foams or purees or whatever it was. And when Great British Menu came on, I thought it was a brilliant program that was hosting and airing some of the country's best, most talented, notable chefs. And, they've all been on there, So when I've seen it, and I've always wanted to test myself. In order to be the best, I think you have to, be amongst the best. So that's why I chose the places where I've worked. And the honest way to do it, I think, is be able to challenge yourself in a positive way. So I had the aspirations from way back then. And that's what I was always like, up to now when I said it to the guys when I started the film, I was like, it's like 15 years later, and finally I really got to do it. It was a big personal aspirations of mine.
Yeah.
And coming through, just a naturally competitive, coming from a background of me being in track and field, I've had that competitive spirit. But at the same point in time, I think through all my career going along, I think a lot of people has, in previous roles as well, has underappreciated me. And sometimes you come to the point where you want to kind of set the record straight, not for them, but for yourself. Am I actually good? Have I actually learned? Am I, so in order to do that, I think the Great British Menu, hosting all these talented chefs and being amongst them, it was a good way for me to finally do it. I was, scared shitless with certain aspect of it, but you have to face your fears. You have to do it and be able to, again, self-regulate. So it's something that I had to do, and I'm glad I've done it.
Yeah. And so did you obviously enjoyed it, and did you enjoy the brief? Because obviously the brief this year.
Yeah, the brief was awesome. I think it's been the best brief so far as yet, because again,
it's children's literature, isn't it, for the purposes of this?
Children's literature. I'm quite just like chummy all the time. Anyways, like I'm a big kids fan. Obviously, I have 4 kids, but it's something that, for every chef, I think no one would say they wouldn't love this brief. It opens unlimited windows for creativity and imagination, and the next chef always trying to make the next trend is always thinking outside the box and being absolutely creative. So here you got a chance to just focus on children's literature and transform something truly inspirational through food. I thought it was great. It was great brief, exhilarating experience. I was very exhausted by some of the things, but again, I enjoyed it. Brilliant.
And obviously, normally I speak to chefs about Great British Menu, and it does like amazing things for the restaurant and bookings and things like that. So, are you a little bit disappointed that it's on TV now, so people can't visit the restaurant, or is it good for you in terms of people thinking forward and thinking, I'm going to book that when everything's open again?
Yeah, I think it is a bit of a shame, like the worst time ever for this pandemic to happen. But it's unfortunate. But I do think that it keeps people excited to be able to want to visit us once we open, because a lot of people are staying at home, which is mandatory. We have to be at home, which means maybe the interaction and interest on the program should be even more high than usual, because the people are looking for some great program to watch. So hopefully, I think if I've done enough on the program to keep people to be interested for whatever the time frame is once we open back, to give me or give us a try for a food and experience, then it will be great. But yeah.
And so, what was your best and kind of worst experience of being on the show? Was there like a highlight that you can think of, or is there something that went wrong that you're like, oh God, I can't believe that happened?
One of my best experiences was, I think it was when I actually was, kind of back in my stride a little bit more from after passing through from the veteran judge from Tammy Banks, and going on to the Friday to do all the dishes again, and being in the judges' chamber, you know, having that like sweat, and then they kind of like, I think it was kind of in the judges' chamber was a very, you know, a lot of positive feedback through all my dishes, even though one was a little bit weaker. But comparing to what my rival did, I think they was really singing some good praises, and I was just really, really relaxed in my mind. Not relaxed, that's not even the word. It was, I kind of like, I was overwhelmed with joy just hearing them actually give me these scores and these positive criticisms. And then when they asked about the winner and they actually said Kerth, like I said, my blood started to talk. I was jumping all around doing somersaults, and my body was just shaking all, you know. But that was a really, really good experience, because you don't know anything else. You have the silence, you have the weight, and you know, because some of the things that Tommy didn't like, the judges loved. So you know, you didn't know where to go. I was literally just standing there waiting, and your heart is like beating more faster, and they keep the silence. And then when they actually said, you know, when they pronounced that TH at the end, Kerth, I was like, yes, that was amazing. That was amazing. Amazing. My worst experience would be probably some things as well on the show in the opposite fact. You know, I've had some roller coasters of highs and lows on the program, which, you know, you guys hopefully will see when time everything is done. So, but yeah, it's literally a roller coaster of emotions.
With that said, would you do it again?
I think it is very much still just in the now, still very in the now, with all the exhilaration, all the exhausting, even though it was a process. I'm not sure, like, if I say I'm going to just, you know, jump back on it right away, because time this finish shows like a month after they'll be already looking to recruit to come back in next year. I really don't know, but, you know, I'm not against it completely. But it's just like, what you know, what's next to achieve with it exactly. Yeah. I would definitely recommend it with any chef, because not every chef is up for this kind of pressure. And you know, I look forward to looking through my team or through people that I come across to, and I'll definitely always stay them in that direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully, who knows? Maybe I'll probably get the aspiration I want to be a judge on a program like that. So I think that would be probably the next way forward. I'll just get back on there again, wouldn't it? So
nice to be the other side.
yeah, it would be.
Obviously, it's great for raising your profile as a chef as well. People find out who you are that maybe didn't know who you were before. And you're quite active on social media. So is that something that you enjoy, being on social and interacting with people?
Yeah, and as I say, you know, coming from, you know, this dot on the map, a small little island, we didn't have a lot of different resources, and, you know, all the computers and everything. I just started getting into that when I came over here. So everything was always a new thing for me, and I've consistently just keep trying to put myself out there, and you know, because I know that social media kinds of plays a good part for positive influence. And like I said, I felt like a lot of, in some of my previous roles, being underappreciated for what I actually, you know, would give in terms of, you know, raw energy and passion. You know, I'm very consistent and persistent. I try to be absolutely loyal. And with some of these things, like, I was, you know, always willing, and there would be a point coming that you need to step out from behind the shadows, and I'm ready to let the world know who Kerth Gumbs is.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely going to be finding out. So, so where do you see yourself in 5 years, Kerth? Do you want your own restaurant, or you know, what's your kind of for yourself, your personal kind of goals?
I think this is a natural process that you know, every chef would have to hope to have their own restaurant. I mean, I hope to continue building a valued imprint. You know, where that would be, whether it's just that I can secure being able to take care of my kids a bit better and so forth. May that be having my own restaurant, or may that be having my name above a restaurant. but it will definitely be in a situation where I need to, while I still have this energy, because it doesn't last forever, as much as working, the same hours that you do for over 15 years and go along. You want to be able to as well be reaping a little bit more of the benefits from the career path that you've chosen unrelentlessly. So I think, it would probably be a natural process to have a restaurant, but as I say, it can come either with just having a restaurant, your name on top of the door, but it's not actually yours, or is it actually mine, or something that I'm looking to, just call my own baby. It depends on if, there's a lot of things that, you need to have in consideration when you're talking about these things. If you're going to have a good partner, a good investment, or, if people are going to help you, and truly help you to get off the ground. And I'm always very appreciative of trying to accept help. If it is that it's not about just food or cooking, this is not what you need to have the help within the other aspect of things, business management, etc., etc. Chefs, cooks offer, very few chefs come from being chefs and then they go over to a restaurateur and they're waiting to learn all the way. But so as I say, I'm looking over my own shoulders now and trying to see how else I can do to learn my way of things. So
there's a lot comes with owning your own business, doesn't there? So it's not just about cooking food anymore. So there's a lot. It's a lot different.
Exactly. So, I'm not objecting to anything. I think, as I say, I would just love to be able to more, take care and do things that was not awarded to me when I was growing up. So I can do that for my kids.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, well, I look forward to you opening a restaurant in the future and coming to visit you there. And obviously, good luck with everything going forward with Great British Menu and with Ormer. I'm sure you will open and smash it straight away. So I think that will be brilliant. It was really nice to talk to you, and thank you so much for giving me the time. And I'm no doubt speak to you in the future.
All right, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you as well, Cara.
Thank you, Kerth. We hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you have any comments, feel free to tweet us or comment on the post. We're making all of our interviews available to download. And finally, if you like what we do, whether it's our podcast or our videos or even our features, please head over to our Patreon page and support us there. This episode of Grilled by the Staff Canteen is sponsored by Westlands, the premier specialist British grower of microleaf, growing cresses, edible flowers, inspired leaves, sea herbs and specialty tomatoes. Visit www.westlandsuk.co.uk to find out more.